Hi, everyone. You are watching The Self Connection with Ginny Brown and Kelly Pietro, where we have conversations with a group of ascended masters known as the multitude of the greater good.
The multitude of the greater good consists of multitudes and multitudes of multitudes. So any information that you are interested in can come through in one of those groups. There's so much information. They have information from the day of creation to the present time, plus for you, whatever it is that you have decided to accomplish in this lifetime. So they are here to answer questions. Kelly will ask them, and the multitude will give the answers. So welcome, and thank you for coming.
Thanks for being here, Jen. Thanks for channeling, and thanks to the multitude for providing us insights. All right, Ginny.
Okay, question.
Oh, you know that I got a new puppy,
Yeah.
and you just got to meet him. And so it has me, what's that?
He's adorable.
He is adorable. So it has me thinking about animals in a different way. And it's funny because prior to getting him on my list is pets but I never knew what to ask. So I
Right.
just haven't gotten to it. But now I have questions. And I imagine our audience would be interested in this topic. So I'm going to ask specifically about dogs, but maybe in the end we'll say, you know, we'll see if it makes sense to do another episode on cats or other pets. But just to keep it in, we'll ask about dogs. Well, before I ask questions, does the multitude have an opening message for us?
Oh. We would like each of you to understand that as it is that you move forward in and within your own knowing, you will allow your questions to come forward. Therefore, you will be seeking answers. And when you seek answers, we will be most pleased to give you the information. We can tell each of you that you are allowing yourself to move forward in the best way you know how, therefore, allowing not only yourself and your own information of being, you will be allowing the all that is to make the connection with that part of us that knows. Do not be concerned. There's your
Okay,
opening.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so my first question is, what are dogs here to teach us? Or maybe what is it that they bring to the earth plane?
It is important to understand that there are many who are interested in allowing themselves the freedom to expand themselves. However, they do not know how. An animal, no matter what animal it is, allows that person's heart to open, allows that person's heart to expand itself, and allows that person to move forward in an aspect of love that they would otherwise not know. In our estimation, it is the love of self that is coming through, and the animal is the catalyst. Do not be concerned. When one is ready to allow one's heart to open, one will allow it in one way or another. Sometimes it is a pet, sometimes it is an endeavor of being, and sometimes it is that part of self that just knows. Do not be concerned.
Well, I feel that to be true.
Yeah.
As I shared with you, this having this dog has brought up so many feelings from the past, but also a lot of love, so snuggly and sweet and innocent. And I wondered if that was helping me to connect to my own innocence and smallness, vulnerability, like I guess the inner child part of me. I kind of felt that.
It is important to understand that each one allows oneself to connect in the way each one is required to connect. When one is ready to say, oh, okay, I think I want to move in this direction, one allows one to bring to them that which is required to move in that direction. And when one says, oh, this is or is not for me, one will continue to move on in a direction of one's choosing. choosing. It is important to understand that as one allows oneself to expand oneself, one allows not only the information to flow, one allows the feeling to flow. And it is the feeling that does the healing. And when one allows the feeling of whatever it is, whether it be loneliness, deceitfulness, misunderstanding, relearning, ability to be who one is, the feeling is the catalyst for the healing. Do not be concerned.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, so it sounds like the pet helps bring forth aspects of self that are wanting to evolve, and those aspects are going to vary from person to person.
Not only will they vary, they will allow themselves to come forward, whether or not a pet is involved. Sometimes it is a matter of just knowing who one is and what one wants. When one knows what one wants, one will endeavor to move in that direction. And that will allow one to bring up feelings that are required to be healed. Sometimes they are of a childhood experience. Sometimes they are of a past life experience. There are those parts of oneself that knows, those parts of oneself that allows one to retain all information over many, many lifetimes of being and allows oneself to bring forth that information when it is required. Therefore, we would highly recommend that one allow oneself the opportunity to bring up those feelings in any way they wish. Do not be concerned.
Okay, so it's all about the feelings.
Yeah,
I think that's the mantra of this channel. Feeling is healing.
exactly.
Okay, so well, that answered one of my questions, so that's good. Okay, do all dogs read the thoughts of their owners and attempt to communicate telepathically? And is it at the ego level or at the soul level?
It is important to understand that all animals are focused on their own selves. It is a lesson for humans to focus on their own selves. In our estimation, it is wise to understand that there are some dogs that are capable of telepathy. However, most are not. Most are in the experience of love of self. And when one loves oneself, one is able to love another. Therefore, the love frequently and easily flows. And when one feels love, one gives love. Do not be concerned.
Interesting. Okay, so animal communicators that claim to communicate with animals, then are they really just communicating with a higher knowing of the all that is, or the super self of the person they're doing the reading for? What's going on there?
It is important to understand that some animals are capable of the telepathic gift of being. However, it is important to understand that if an animal communicator believes they are communicating with an animal, it will allow the energy of the animal to come forth, therefore allowing its own knowing. We would highly recommend that each one allow oneself to communicate with their animal in no matter what way it is, whether it be the feeling, whether it be on the knowing level or on the telepathic level. One will know in one's heart the best way to communicate with their animal. However, we can tell you if one is open to the telepathic capacities of an animal will allow itself to reach for its own telepathic abilities or capabilities. Do not be concerned. Hmm.
Wow, so does an animal need to evolve its own soul? And do animals have souls Do they need to evolve their own soul to the ability to do that?
It is important to understand there is no real evolvement in an animal. What is important is that on the spiritual plane, one knows how it is to um, allow oneself the gift of love from an animal and allows oneself to make that connection before coming to the earth plane. Therefore, the animal itself is quite aware of how it is to be on the earth plane. Therefore, when one is ready, one allows that animal to come to oneself. We would highly recommend that one not worry about who, what, where, how, and when, just to understand that animals are love, and that is all they are. Do not be concerned.
I love how they try to tell me to not worry about the who, what. That's like all I ever ask. That's really interesting.
You are a worrier, Kelly.
Yeah, I don't know that I worry about it. I think I just wonder about it.
Yeah.
I'm a curious mind. I like to know how things work. And so my, I don't know that it comes from a worry place, but uh, a curiosity, musing, if you will. Um, okay, so you know how humans, we say that there are soul groups and we reincarnate with soul groups often. What about for animals, especially pets? Is it like do the pets themselves have a soul litter or are they often tied with the humans in their life and reincarnate with the humans in their life? Like what's that? How can I explain that?
It is important to understand, my dear, there is no explanation. There are animals and there are humans, and animals contract with humans. That is all. Animals are far less complex than humans and do not need to, it's like set up all of that before coming to the earth plane. They only allow themselves to come to those who they have contracted with in spirit. And if it is that that does not work for them, they either leave the earth plane or find someone else to connect with. However, the connection is done on the spiritual plane, and like the follow through is on the physical plane. Do not be concerned.
Interesting. Okay, so we talked a little bit about dogs, but what about cats? Humans tend to think of them more as like mystical creatures and that they've got more of a divine connection and all this. What can they say about that?
It is important to understand that cats are in the same category as dogs as far as the soul goes. However, we can tell you that when it is that one allows oneself to connect with a cat, it is far easier to communicate on the telepathic level. Therefore, the label that is given to them can be quite accurate for some but not for most. Do not be concerned.
That's interesting. I mean, that's a statement that telepathy is more common with cats than with dogs.
It
So
is important. It is important to understand, my dear, that as it is that a cat allows oneself to connect with oneself in spirit, one allows the ability to come forth in order to project that which it needs to another. It is not necessarily telepathic in the sense that one on the earth plane understands telepathy. It is that part of self that says, oh, I know you and I understand why I am here. Do not be concerned. It is also important to understand that cats bring no exceptional gift of connection. It is only the label that one places on it. Do not be concerned.
Okay, so what I think I'm learning here is that it's not so much about the cat and the dog. It's about the human and the soul wanting to experience in a certain way. And therefore, because of that intention, which happens on the spiritual plane, uh, that soul brings forth either a cat or a dog or a pet of some sort. Is that an accurate depiction?
It is important to understand that that is 99% correct. However, there is that 1% that allows one to make the choice on the earth plane as well as whatever has been decided on the spiritual plane. Do not be concerned.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I feel like they answered all of my questions. So,
Okay.
yeah, so like, okay, Ginny, we were talking about my new dog and how he tends to, I'm just using him as an example. He lights up a room, he gathers a crowd, people instantly love him. Uh, he's super good with people. Like he has this demeanor that lends itself to like a healing type energy or joyful, playful, innocent energy. And we thought, oh, I wonder if he'd make a good therapy dog, like that kind of thing. So it's not that like a pet has a destiny per se or a plan for its soul, but certainly it has a personality that is unique. Are they saying that that's not like unique to the animal, that has more to do with the owner or something? What's going on there?
It is important to understand that there are those pets that are wide open as to who they are, as well as humans being wide open to who they are. 99% of pets, however, do not have that capacity of being. In our estimation, your pet has the capacity, as it is the only type of capacity that you are able to connect with. Therefore, it is the only capacity that it will allow itself in order to connect with you. It is how it is that the two of you have decided it is right to be on the earth plane. Therefore, we would highly recommend that you not worry about why he is with you or how he came to be. Just understand that it is the only energetic level that you would allow for yourself, as that is your capacity. Therefore, you need an animal of the same openness and capacity of being. Do not be concerned.
I'll only have a dog if it's spiritual.
And that,
No, it's just like that's what that sounds.
that's what they're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, well, you're only willing to like connect in the etheric realms. So this dog was like, all right, I'm gonna take on that 1% because that's the only way she'll. I don't know, it's just funny. Um, yeah, okay. Well, I'm curious then to see what we do together.
It is important to understand that he has a reason for being on the earth plane also. And in our estimation, he has chosen you to be his owner, so to speak, in order to allow him to be who he is. He cannot be who he is in a limited energetic space. Therefore, he has looked for someone who will allow him to expand his own energy in a wider area of being. And you have the capacity to allow yourself that. Therefore, you have the capacity to allow him that. Do not be concerned.
That's so funny. I was tuning in last night and I kept getting that he chose me more than I chose him, which is a little contrary to what they're saying here.
No,
And
uh,
well, what they were saying before that, right? That like the human chooses the animal kind of thing. But then
I
what
didn't
they're, oh, you didn't?
know.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's a mutual capacity, which is designated in spirit. Um, you know, I didn't hear that. Could be because I was channeling that, but that's not what I got.
No, I'm glad that you're opening me to that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. He's where in his being that he needs the freedom to be who he is. And you are where you're being, where you can allow that to happen. So the two of you are it's like in connection, but it's like in agreement that, that's how it's going to be for the two of you. You have the freedom to be who you are.
yeah. Okay. Well, good. I hope I can give him everything he needs. That's what I was tuning into last night. Like, am I giving him everything he needs? And there was one thing that he supposedly already has told me, but I haven't figured it out. I said, okay, just make it clearer and get you what you need. But okay, well,
Well, the question that comes up for me is like, why wouldn't you give him everything he needs? What makes you doubt that you can give him anything he needs? And not you specifically, but a relationship with a pet and an owner. If it's to be that way and there's love involved, why would you not be able to give him what he needs? Just a
I
thought.
guess it's if I'm missing something, if I don't know what that need is, that kind of thing.
Well,
It'll come to me because I've asked him to bring it to me. So,
yeah.
yeah. All right. Do you have any questions, Ginny, on this topic?
Well, I like pets, but I like them over there. I am
Yeah.
not a pet person per se, so I don't have any pet questions.
Well, that is the curious thing is because I'm the same way, is that
I didn't know that. I thought you
oh,
did.
really? No, I am not a pet person. I'm happy. I'm happiest watching animals in the wild in their own habitat and they're not in my home because
Right.
I'm a little bit of I have like a little bit of OCD with cleanliness and stuff, and animals don't fit very well into that for me. So I love them. I think they're adorable. I can watch videos and just start crying over these cute dog videos. But so anyway, that's who I normally am. But this dog is like sleeping in my bed and like he can't do anything wrong. Like, oh, you had an accident in the house? Oh, that's cute. Like, which is, and then so I'm watching myself like, well, that's weird. That is not normally me. So
Yeah.
he's definitely burst something open in me that is unique. I've never experienced it before. So, yeah, I feel very connected to him. And I'm curious, it's like, what is happening here? I'm not a dog person. I like other people can have dogs, but I don't like when dogs come up and sniff on me and all that. I think because of, you know, things that happened in my childhood and stuff. I don't understand them and I don't feel like I can trust their intentions. Like I don't know if they're gonna bite me but this one, I mean, he's so tiny anyway, but yeah.
It is important to understand, my dear, that as it is that you proceed through your life experiences, you allow yourself to be open. It does not matter if you are an animal person or not an animal person. When you allow yourself to connect with yourself on the spiritual plane, you allow the spiritual connections that you have made at one time or another on the spiritual plane, therefore bringing them to you on the physical plane. In our estimation, you are quite loving, and that is all that he requires. Do not be concerned.
Oh, well, he's got that for me, that's for sure.
Is that, does that answer your question as to what else he needs?
Just more love. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Okay, well, I'm glad I could check this one off my list now. I had no idea how to talk about animals, probably because I wasn't open to it, but this was great. I hope this helps our audience and gives some insights about their connection with their pets.
Okay, so I just asked if there was more, and they said there is.
Let's
So
have it.
let's see what they have to say.
Yeah.
It is important to understand that each one comes to the earth plane for their own reason of being. their own expansion of self, their own allowance of understanding. Some to choose to do it in one way, and some choose to do it in another. And when one chooses an animal, so to speak, one allows it's like the melting of the heart. Therefore, any ice, to continue with the metaphor, any ice that has been accumulated around the heart self begins to melt. And in the melting of the ice, so to speak, one allows oneself to open to that which is one. It is important to understand that when one comes to the earth plane, there are many who do not know how to proceed. They do not know that they are the one in charge. They do not understand how it is to move forward. Therefore, in having a pet, it is the opening of oneself to oneself in spirit. In our estimation, when one allows oneself to move forward in such a direction of being, one allows the information to flow. It's like at the expense of or through the propriety of a pet. Do not be concerned. Although I don't see it as an expense, it's just, I guess, a way to explain it. You're on mute.
Words are limiting.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
wow, that was so cool. Okay.
All right.
Thanks
Did you
for
have
all of
any more
that.
questions on pets?
I don't think so. I really don't.
We
Sounds
can tell you that pets are quite valuable on the earth plane. Therefore, we would highly recommend that each owner cherish their pet. And the more that they are cherished, the more that they will deliver. Do not be concerned.
that's good advice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I
I
got.
swear my dog, like, I'm watching videos of like how to train and do this and do that. I'm trying to train him in certain ways. And it's like, it's almost as if he's watching them with me because we go to train and he knows exactly what to do.
Oh, good.
And I'm like, what's happening? Is this like a connecting on a conscious level that he sees what I'm learning and what I'm wanting and then just does it? Like,
The other thing you've talked about this dog, and we've talked about it being in connection in spirit. And we've talked about, how a human trains the animal, but we haven't talked about what the animal brings with it and its own knowing
oh
and
yeah,
its
that's
experience from its own lifetimes and how it is for one to connect on the earth plane with that part of itself in spirit. Because there's a part of an animal in spirit as there is a part of a human in spirit. So I would think, and I get you are correct, I would think that that animal is just bringing through that which it already knows with just a little bit of you know, knowing or connection from you.
okay. Can they say something about that? Because it's funny. I was trying to get at that with my earlier question, and I think I misunderstood what the message was because I was getting like it's not that complicated, but what you just said was exactly the complicatedness I was trying to get at, and they just validated it for you. So can they say more on that?
Yeah, well, it's not that complicated. You bring through what you need to, they bring through what they need to.
Yeah,
It is
but do they have
it is important to understand, my dear, that as it is that you move forward in your own knowing, they move forward in their own knowing, and they have had experience as well. Do not be concerned when one allows oneself to be oneself, regardless of the denomination on the earth plane. One allows oneself the growth required. Do not be concerned.
so
Okay,
does
so that's your question now.
do they have souls? Like does my dog have a soul that lived other lifetimes and you know what I mean?
It is important to understand that dogs, cats, and all animals have what one on the earth plane might call a soul. However, in spirit, it is not called a soul. It is just called a knowing. Do not be concerned.
But that's different than like we have souls, not just a knowing, correct?
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Interesting. I'm curious. Okay, sorry, it's bringing up one more question and then this will be it. So, is there like a collective knowing of dogs that when each dog, each knowing comes to experience as a dog, that that feeds this collective energy? And so it's more of a collective experience with a dog than an individual experience? Or I don't know if what I'm saying is making sense.
People have that.
Yeah, I guess when I was saying it, I'm like, well, that's what humans do too. But it does feel like a little bit more individual, where like my soul experienced these specific lifetimes. And yes, that feeds up to the collective. So I guess I'm wondering, like, how is that different for animals?
It is important to understand that each one on the earth plane has their own individual experiences. That, yes, that does feed to the energetic collective on the spiritual plane. However, the individual knowing does not transfer. And in our estimation, it works the same for an animal in the animal kingdom. However, animals are not as complicated as humans. Therefore, one might say the energy is there, but the distribution of the energy is quite different. Do not be concerned.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those things that we'll never know
Not
until,
until you get there.
yeah, until we die.
Yeah,
All right. Oh, this was fun, Ginny.
yeah. Well, well, it did explore your pet, that's for sure.
Yeah, I did. Thanks. Oh, we use him as a guinea pig, I guess, for everyone to learn from.
Well, yeah, how else can you do it if you don't have the experience? So now you have the experience. So that's how it comes. And that's how it works for everybody. You need to know in some way an experience in order to bring to you what you need or
Yeah.
what you need to heal. Either way, that's in my opinion. So,
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that.
yeah. All
Cool.
right,
Thanks, Jen, and thanks everyone for listening.
you, Kelly.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I hope you find this particular video informative, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.